Nobody at the top is fighting. Have you ever noticed that? The people that you're furious at on somebody else's behalf, they're not at each other's throats. They're not losing sleep. They're not losing friends over this. You are. You're the one whose Thanksgiving table got thinner this year. You're the one who muted somebody that you used to love. You're the one at 11 o'clock at night with your blood pressure climbing at a screen. But them, well, they're just fine. So I want to hand you something that I found online. No author, no source. Somebody had slapped ancient parable across the top, which is the internet's way of saying, I have no idea where this came from, but please believe it anyways. And I almost passed it along. Didn't check a thing because it scratched an itch. And it is the exact itch I'm about to tell you, stop scratching. Look, no side in this, no jersey, just a way through. One that won't cost you your soul. Here's the story. A farmer throws a dead pig down a dry well. Doesn't take long. 70, 80 rats smell it and go over the edge. I mean, free food. Why wouldn't you? I mean, at first, it's quite the party. But then the food runs out. The walls are smooth and high. No climbing back up. So the hunger that brought them in turns into something else. They start turning on each other. Not because they're evil, but because they're starving and there's nothing left to eat but each other. Half a month later, one rat's left, eyes red. And then the farmer drops a rope, lifts him out, sets him loose in the field. Sounds like mercy, doesn't it? It isn't, because that rat won't touch grain anymore. He has learned to eat his own kind. So now he'll do it out in the open, and the farmer's rat problem is gone because he hunts the rats in the fields, the ones who never even went near the well. He recruited him. That's the whole trick. You don't have to fight the people below you if you can get them to fight each other. Keep them hungry. Drop something to squabble over. Step back. The people at the top never climb into that well. That's the genius of it. They never have to. Now, let me get out of the barnyard and say it in plain daylight. Picture a political party, and the people at the top of that party have figured out something about you. They don't need you to think, they need you to be angry. So they drop the pig. What's the pig? It's an atrocity from the other side, a clip, a headline, a photo with the ugliest caption somebody could write. And they just step back. And the rats come swarming to the smell of a dead caucus. And that smell is all over TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X. Every place an algorithm is tuned to the scent of decay. And down you go. Midnight in the comments, at war with your cousin, your coworker, some stranger who lives 3 states away, exhausted. Down a friend. That acid in your gut that won't quit. And the farmer, the one who dropped it in the bucket, he slept just fine. He raised money off it. And he's going to do it again tomorrow because he is already writing the caption for the next dead pig. Friends, please listen carefully. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I am not telling you the issues don't matter. Some of them matter a great deal. And I'm telling you, a fighting crowd is exactly what the machine runs on. It earns its profit off you eating each other. And the people who figure that out are not down in the well with you. They just drop the pig and they watch and they get paid. Now, you probably think this story is about those rats at the bottom, the ones who jumped. It's not. Not for you. You're not at the bottom of anything. You're standing at the edge right now, looking down, feeling the pull. And here's the thing nobody wants to say about the rats that jumped. They weren't stupid. I'm not going to call people idiots for going over the edge. That's lazy. It's not true. They were hungry. And there was real food down there. The smell was real. What they didn't do, what they couldn't do, because they were too hungry to do it, was ask the questions. How do I get back out? What happens to me once I'm down there? Who put this food here? Why did they put this food here? And those questions never fired in their brain, and not because the rats were too dumb to think of them, but because hunger turns those questions off completely. A starving thing sees food and nothing else. The walls disappear, the drop disappears, there's just the food. Two behavioral scientists, Sindel Malaithan and Elder Schiffer, and they gave it its name. They call it tunneling. When you're deprived of something you badly need, your focus narrows hard onto the thing you lack, and everything outside the tunnel goes dim, which means the hunger doesn't just make you want the bait, it takes the walls out of your vision. That's not stupidity, that's ignorance. And I mean that plainly, not seeing. The hunger ate the question before the question could save them. So picture two rats at the edge. One's starving and he sees the food. That's all he sees. Over he goes. The other one's not starving. And because he's not starving, he can see the whole picture. The walls, the drop, the fact that a free meal showed up at the bottom of a hole, and that's a strange place for a lunch. He's not smarter. He's just fed enough to keep his eyes working. You ever wonder why exterminators hate a smart rat? It's not that some rats test higher. It's that a rat who's watched other rats die in traps learns the shape of the trap. Doesn't matter how good the bait is, he's seen what it cost and he won't go near it. Now, two things keep that rat alive. He can see the trap and he's not so hungry that the food blinds him to it. And here's the part I had backwards for years. Those two things aren't a list. They hold each other up. Because spotting traps isn't enough on its own. The farmer never stops building new ones. Learns the shape of one, he builds one you won't recognize. So sight alone fails you eventually. There's always a new trap. But being fed isn't enough either. Best fed rat in the country still walks into a brand new trap. So you're going to need both. A starving rat can't even see the trap he already knows, but a fed rat has margin. He's not desperate. He can stop and ask, wait, what is this? Before he bites. So here it is. Sight keeps you out of the traps you know, and fullness keeps your eyes working so you can spot the ones you don't. Neither one's enough alone. Together, they will keep you out of the well. Now, I've gone this whole time without telling you where I stand. I do this on purpose. I'm a pastor, been one a long time, and I held it back because everything I just said is true whether you ever set foot in a church or not. The well doesn't care. The hunger doesn't care. The trap works on everybody. But I'd be a coward not to tell you where I think the real food comes from. There's a line, Paul writing to a church that was tearing itself apart. And it reads like he stood at the edge of the exact well 2,000 years ago. In Galatians 5:15, it says, but if you are always biting and devouring one another, watch out. Beware of destroying one another. Biting, devouring until there's nothing left. That's not a man describing a seminary debate. That's a man describing 70 rats in a dry well. And I know that well from the inside. Let me tell you about the time I went over into the well. There was an issue years back, polarizing, doesn't matter which one. What happened to me had nothing to do with the issue itself. I came across something that I believed was right. I started to only see that side. Now, if you'd asked me, I'd have told you that I could see both sides. I prided myself on it, said it with a straight face. I was lying. I just didn't know it yet. Because the more conversations I got into, the more something changed me and I could feel it. This is the part that still scares me. I could feel a hunger growing inside me. And the further I moved from grace, from actually understanding the people across from me, the better this thing felt. It felt good. It was easier to be angry. I mean, so much easier to believe the other side wasn't just wrong, but evil, deranged, something to be despised, something to throw away. Felt like a drug. I'd never felt it before. It came to a head in one conversation with a friend. He was a guy that I would say was like me, fair, thoughtful, could hold both sides. Right in the middle of it, time stopped. I stepped outside myself and watched myself use everything I'd stockpiled to decimate this man. I was destroying a friendship in real time with my own mouth, and I couldn't stop it. I was the red-eyed rat. I'd gone over the edge, and I didn't even know it. I'd been feeding on the dead pig and calling it conviction. That was the last conversation like that I've ever had. And not because I won it, but because I finally saw what winning was turning me into. And here's where it turned for me. Here's the part that I think actually sets you free. The hunger was never actually the problem. Proverbs 16:9 says, "We make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps." Did you catch that? We make our plans. We are supposed to. God built you to think. He wants you to think. He gave you a brain and a fire in your belly and a curiosity that won't quit on purpose. The hunger to know how to dig, how to find who's telling the truth. That's not a defect. That is the image of God in you, wanting to understand the world that he made. The farmer didn't put that hunger in you. God did. The farmer just learned how to use it against you. The reason the bait works is that it tastes like the real thing. Outrage feels like conviction. The fight feels like it matters. Tearing somebody apart feels like standing for truth. It counterfeits the very thing that you were built for. But it's the dead pig, the thing that makes you sick enough to turn on your own family. The food isn't different, friends. It's the same. You are made to feed on truth, to investigate, to learn what the other side actually believes, instead of the cartoon of them, to know why you believe what you believe instead of just who you are supposed to hate this week. Same appetite. The well just serves it pre-chewed, prearranged, and free at the bottom of a hole. So what do? Well, you get fed. You got to get that first before you ever get near the edge. Here's the test. The food that shows up already packaged to make you angry, already cut to make you certain, already built to make you want to fight, that's the bait every single time. The stuff that actually feeds you is quieter. It makes you think before it makes you mad. It doesn't trend. Nobody gets rich on reading the whole bill instead of the clip about it. So feed yourself the real way. Read the long thing, not the hot thing. Learn what the other side believes from someone who actually believes it, not the guy doing an impression of them. Do the work. It's slower. It's less fun. And it keeps your eyes open. Then, only then, you get to say what you think. And where you say it matters. The comment section is the well, a hole with smooth walls built for biting and devouring. You don't pour your convictions into a hole. You take them to a table, a real one, where you can see another person's face to face. And when you say it like a man who's fed. You don't have to win. A fed man doesn't have to win. That's the tell. Desperation is hunger. And if you have to destroy them, you're starving. And you probably didn't even know it. But staying fed and clear-eyed, that is only half that keeps you out of the well. Because remember, there's one more thing. Remember the farmer's rope? That one that we say in the story is mercy? Well, we're not done with that. First, the danger. You can hear all of this and decide the smart move is to climb up on the grass, fold your arms, and look down on everybody that's still in the well. That rat's not wise. He's just smug. So back to the rope. Everybody thinks the farmer's rope is the mercy, and it isn't. That rope doesn't pull the rat back into who he was. It just lifts him out as the monster so that he can go do the farmer's work in devouring the other rats. And that's the only rope in the whole story. Nobody ever drops one that saves anybody. So I guess let's be the people who ruin the story. Let's put a different rope in it. The kind that actually pulls somebody back up. A rope is an offer. It's not a rescue. You can't reach down and yank somebody out who doesn't want out. And some of them will bite the hand that tries to reach in. I know. I tried. I had a friend, an elder. He was a funny guy, little melancholy, but the kind who'd say the thing nobody else would, and you kind of loved him for it. And then a political season came, and something changed in this guy. All of a sudden, all the email and posts that he started sharing all the time, the other side drawn up in the cruelest, dumbest way, things so out of context that 30 seconds of looking would have shown that they were false. And they were pushed forward like they were the gospel, all dressed up as some kind of joke, just having fun, just ironic. One day I asked him, I did it gently. I mean, I thought I did. I admit there was a bit of an edge to it, but I asked him where all this was coming from, why he kept sending the things he was sending. And this guy blew up. Can't you take a joke? Lighten up a little bit. Which was really something coming from a man whose jokes had gotten meaner every single week. It hurt our friendship. And in the end, I had to block his feed. My own friend. And I want to be careful here because that could sound like quitting on him, and it wasn't. Blocking the feed wasn't me climbing up on the grass and folding my arms. It was me refusing to climb into the well with him. He was down there biting, and the pull was real. I could feel myself wanting to fire back, to win, to feed. And I answered every email until I couldn't anymore. Because if I tried to continue to answer those emails, I'd have ended up in the hole next to him. And then there'd be two of us down there, and nobody left on the edge. So I stepped back, and I left the rope down. I didn't write him off. I didn't decide that he was evil, which is exactly what the well wants you to do. I just refused to go in. A rope only works if somebody's still standing on solid ground holding the other end. Maybe you came in today not even sure who handed you the anger that you carry. I hope you can see I didn't ask you to grab a jersey. I didn't ask you to choose one of the sides. I tried to show you today how to climb up out of the well, how to get out of the mess, and how to live your life differently. You can still care. You can still fight for what's true. In fact, I think once you're out of that well, you can fight even harder now. Once you're fed, once you're clear-eyed. Just don't let it turn you into something that can only hurt its own kind. And the rope the story never had, well, you've got it now. For the people you love who are still down there, I hope you're leaving today better than you came. Stay fed. Keep your eyes open. Drop the rope. Think clearly and live faithfully. There are hard things all around us, and the question isn't, will it get to me, but what will I become because of it? Let's navigate this together with grace and grit and come out hopeful. Grace with grit. I'll see you on the next one.